The trade is now official. The Brooklyn Nets have officially traded Kyrie Irving as he got sent to the Dallas Mavericks in return for Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, and multiple draft picks. This was a very unexpected landing spot, at least for me personally, but this trade seems to put the writing on the wall that indicates the Brooklyn Nets aren't done yet, and we're going to talk about why that is. Also, if you guys enjoy the NBA or just the Brooklyn Nets, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. So when the Brooklyn Nets had won 18 games in a 20-game stretch, I passed a comment that I hope the basketball gods would keep this team healthy because this was the best of Nets basketball that we had seen since the 2020-21 season once Harden arrived in Brooklyn, or possibly even their entire time since the move from New Jersey to Brooklyn. And while Durant's MCL injury didn't necessarily ruin their season, as the Nets still are the 4th seed in the East at the time of this recording and have gone 5-7 in the 12 games without Durant, it seemed like in typical Nets fashion, something out of the ordinary happened to force their ship to sink. It doesn't matter if it's injuries, vaccine mandates, contract disputes, you name it. If you've been a Nets fan for as long as I have, which is over 2 decades at this point for me personally, you know whatever could go wrong will go wrong, and that's the sad reality that comes with being a fan of this franchise. Now it seems, though, that they're not done making moves, and I don't necessarily mean to add to their roster, but more so to subtract from it. If we look at this report here from Chris Haynes, it says that the Phoenix Suns are prepared to pursue Brooklyn Nets star Kevin Durant should he become available. This might seem like, yeah, okay, so are the other 28 teams in the league. It's Kevin Durant we're talking about. But it's important to remember Haynes is close to Durant, and Durant leaked info to him during his trade request from this past summer. And we look at this tweet here from Brooklyn's Beat on Twitter. He says, "This strikes me as there's a real belief Durant is available. It's not news unless he is, so why else tweet it?" And I think that tweet is 100% accurate and on the money, and there you have it. While the Nets will seemingly do whatever they could to retool this roster and keep Durant happy, it seems that the Nets will be starless once again for the first time in 4 years. Durant did not attend the Nets home game this past Saturday, and with this new information in this New York Post article that was released on Sunday night, they say, quite honestly, this is an organization that wants KD to stay committed, as well as Durant's business partner, Rich Kleiman, is not returning the Brooklyn Nets calls. So like I said, it seems the writing is on the wall for Brooklyn. While we're speaking of Durant, let's talk about this other report that surfaced on Sunday night as it reiterated his disdain for Ben Simmons, which has been evident since Ben Simmons arrived in Brooklyn. As it says, Kevin Durant has been less than enthralled with Ben Simmons, which is a nice way of saying he wants nothing to do with him and doesn't want him on his team. So if that doesn't make you believe Durant wants out and that Chris Haynes' reporting is very telling, then I don't know what will. Whether or not Durant gets moved is a different story, however, as Woj came out and said on Sunday night, Brooklyn wants to get back to work. They will be aggressive with their picks to go out before the trade deadline and get more help around Kevin Durant. In my opinion, I believe Durant will stay put in Brooklyn for the remainder of the season. However, a first or second round exit is the most likely outcome for this Nets team. And as a result of that, I believe Durant will ask out in the summer, and it will be close to a repeat of what we saw from last summer with the Nets. And I think the only difference might be that the situation between Durant and Brooklyn will probably not be as volatile as it was last summer, and a lot of the info won't be as much in the public eye as it was. And the only way that I believe Durant doesn't ask out is if the Nets can acquire another star or a friend of Durant from around the league that he wants to play with. I believe Dinwiddie and Finney-Smith are fine role players, but Dinwiddie is a great sixth man in my opinion, not a starting point guard. And Finney-Smith is a nice two-way wing for the Nets that really could have helped them had they kept Durant and Kyrie together. But I don't think the Nets have enough without Kyrie anymore, and I feel this move, along with the move for a stretch 5, would have been brilliant trade deadline moves by Sean Marks if they did it without moving Kyrie. But sadly, they moved Kyrie. One thing that's also pretty concerning is apparently Nets owner Joe Tsai made it a concern to not give Kyrie the trade he wanted rather than just accepting the best trade package, as it was reported that Tsai wanted to send Kyrie somewhere other than the Lakers, and with some of the rumored Lakers trade packages that we had seen compared to the one that the Nets ended up getting in return from the Mavericks, it's definitely upsetting and concerning to hear that, especially when you hear the package that the other LA team, the LA Clippers, offered the Nets was a package featuring Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, 1 future first-round pick, and 2 future second-round picks, as well as salary filler. Aside from the Nets possibly being turned off by the salary filler as they like to make other moves prior to the trade deadline to surround Durant, as well as them wanting to stay competitive now, the Clippers trade seemed like that should have been the deal that was accepted if the Nets are thinking long term. But if they're trying to stay in the moment and win, they probably did actually accept the best deal by trading Kyrie to Dallas. Like I said though, it's very concerning to hear that report that Joe Tsai was not accepting the best package just somewhere else would make Kyrie as miserable as possible. Going back to another report from Chris Haynes, the Nets also received packages that were the Los Angeles Lakers' proposal that did include teams' 2 future first-round picks from in the years 2027 and 2029, and the Phoenix Suns' offer of Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, and unspecified picks. It just simply seems that the Nets owner wanted Kyrie to be as unhappy as possible, or just unhappy in general, and for the Nets to avoid the luxury tax as much as possible, which is of course owner Joe Tsai's responsibility to pay. This is a repeating factor though, as the Nets could have gotten Kyle Kuzma as well as Montrezl Harrell from the Washington Wizards when they traded Dinwiddie there in 2021, but Joe Tsai didn't want Kuzma for salary reasons, which is also hyper concerning as Kyle Kuzma is a piece that could have kept Kyrie happy possibly and helped the Nets win more games in Durant's absence. It seemed in terms of the Kyrie trade though that the Nets wanted to take the 2 starters and draft pick rather than 1 or 2 loaded salaries or just draft compensation. In my eyes, though, at the moment, the Nets will end up as a 4th or 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. And as I stated before, I think they will lose in the 1st or 2nd round, which is depending on their 1st round matchup. And while I think it's pretty evident, especially after that Woj quote that we just looked at, that the Nets will be looking to make moves to acquire players to surround Durant, I don't know how much they can do to avoid a 1st or 2nd round loss. And unless we see them pull off a robbery of a trade or a shocking move that could fall into the blockbuster trade category, I'm still standing on that playoff prediction going forward. Also, while I was editing, more news came out about the Nets and Raptors talking the trade, Nets and Bulls talking a trade, and the Nets possibly trading Dinwiddie shortly after acquiring him. So Ian Begley reported that the Nets are talking a trade with the Raptors, and due to their talks with Toronto during the Kyrie situation, and while talking about the Nets' interest in Naz Reid, NBA reporter Kevin O'Connor spoke about the Nets' interest in OG Anunoby as well as Pascal Siakam. Then the Brooklyn Nets are interested in trading for Zach LaVine, but the Bulls are not interested in Ben Simmons, so the trade must include Patty Mills, Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal or Seth Curry, as well as picks. The Bulls are also open to trading Caruso if the price is right. Then Woj came out and said that the Nets want to use their draft capital to and possibly Spencer Dinwiddie to make further moves ahead of the deadline, and multiple sources are indicating Dinwiddie is not off the table in trades. Then finally, positive news for Nets fans as Zach Lowe and Brian Windhorst are caveating everything about KD, saying they don't want to go too far on speculating on what KD thinks, but from what they've heard, they think that he's okay with moving on from Kyrie and open to what the Nets can do with these picks. So it seems that Durant is on board for at least right now, and this will be a huge week for the Brooklyn Nets in terms of trades if everything goes right. So we will see what will go down prior to the trade deadline occurring this upcoming Thursday. I'll wrap up the video by saying, when you have a stretch of basketball where you win 18 of 20 games and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers and Milwaukee Bucks in said time span, like the Nets did, you do whatever you can to keep your stars happy. But it's clear that the Nets have wanted Kyrie gone for some time now, and while a part of me understands why they feel this way, I think you don't play around with your chance to win your first NBA title, or just an NBA title in general, and you do what's necessary to keep your players happy. To further hammer home the speculation that the Nets and owner Joe Tsai have wanted Kyrie gone for some time now, here's a tweet from Nets insider and beat writer Nick Friedel, who spoke on the Kyrie trade and said, "This is a good return for the Nets, especially given where things stood over the summer. Nobody is replacing Kyrie. He's still playing at an incredibly high level, but there will be relief up and down the organization that they don't have to deal with all the extra drama anymore." With Nick being someone who has the inside scoop as well as connections inside the Nets organization, I'd say he knows what he's talking about, and the Nets Kyrie Irving breakup was inevitable, whether it came at the deadline like it has, or it happens at some point down the line. The Brooklyn Nets and their drama with Kyrie Irving has officially come to a close as a result of this trade, and I want to know what you guys thought about the Kyrie Irving trade and who won the trade, where the Nets or Kevin Durant stand going forward, or anything we talked about in the video down below in the comment section. If you liked the video, then make sure to give it a like as it helps out a lot, and if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the Nets or the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you stay up to date with all the newest content on my channel. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm SCJ, and I am out. Peace.